too. Oh, they'll get here, don't worry. Didn't you think it was pretty impressive when you saw that? This equipment we're going to get?
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound fun? Yeah. Doesn't
This popped on up.
doesn't that sound fun? If they had it up and down that walking path? Yeah, it's really neat.
I picked this 2 years ago.
Tomorrow will still be on the
They had to manufacture it, Roy. Give them a break.
Must have been a steel shortage.
Oh, but just look like really, really fun stuff.
Yep.
With the animal control.
It's amazing what it costs, isn't it?
I had a Barrett telling me when I got hired, if you're ever at a meeting and the heat's on you, bring up dogs. You immediately can go with dogs. I never went to the council meeting.
Possibility. But you're trying to read it now?
No, I read that. I read it over the weekend. I was just hoping we could get the highlights, man.
Well, my printer went down. I just read it this afternoon. Probably kick you in a different bracket. You'll be so pleased.
Oh, I'd be mad.
Art in there.
Wouldn't that have been doing $600? You get to pay twice as much tax as you did last year.
The whole ordinance is in there. Yeah.
See, this thing has a big problem. Unless you want 2 of them. I have 1,000 of them. I was thinking a whole tablet of them. So if you want some more, I'll be glad to give you 400. There's a big problem with this map. Can you instantly spot it? Our town square.
Oh, Town Square would be out here, yeah.
Look at that. Well, we need to get that. Look at that big gold star for their railroad museum. We need a big gold star with our town square.
You gotta remember who put that together.
Yeah, I'll update this.
Well, we can always holler and yell.
What?
We can always holler and yell.
Well,
I mean, if they get a gold star, we get a gold star too.
Converse County Tourism.
oh, yeah. Oh, you can do that. Upgrade that.
Well, believe it or not, we're Florida. We haven't been kicked out of the county yet.
No? I took it to a couple blocks of the thing.
Looking good.
It's going to be fun.
That's good. That'll be good.
They don't even do the drawing correct because you took that as Kimball Park. It's on North Sixth. It's between North Fifth and North Street. Over by would be in Power Line's storage yard.
Yep.
We don't want our tourists to come to town and get in short powers. Short storage yard when it could be in Town Square.
I hope we can do a privacy fence on that.
It's collecting tot lots in the wrong place.
Oh, I don't want that.
That's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
I think you probably will. I'll clean that up. I don't want to jump on that yet.
No, but you're right. You're right.
You can do a privacy fence.
Go ahead and call this meeting. Excuse me, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Would you stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us, please? On additions and deletions, we'll be adding, I need a motion from somebody to add a executive session at the end of the meeting for litigation. Can you hear me now? Okay. We need an additions, since we need a motion to add an executive session for legal. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we have an executive session after council for legal matters.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Is there a motion for approval of minutes for the December 13th, 2021 council meeting?
I move we approve the December 13th, 2021 council minutes as presented.
Motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Reports. Councilman Moulton.
Not much. Holidays helped the PD deliver presents. Some last minute gifts we had to go get, but I think everybody got, and then some. So it's a good time.
Good. Councilwoman Fonts.
Just that at the last council meeting, I was going to go by the town shop and check out the walk path exercise equipment. Randy stopped by the following morning and told me that he had made a mistake, that there wasn't any exercise equipment, that what was sent was for the splash park. And he was going to check into that, and he did. And it's supposed to be here this week or next week, correct?
End of the week is what they told me.
Okay, and it's from Outdoor Fitness, coming out of Colorado.
Outdoor fitness, yeah.
Yeah. And Councilwoman Nunn and I did a little tour of the Bronco building, the upstairs with Mr. Grisham, and Stuart was our leader. Very informative, and I didn't realize how bad that upstairs is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bad, but other than that, that's it.
Okay. Councilman Kincaid.
Just kudos to Chief and delivering all the gifts. That was a big hit. Way more presents than I think usual. Also, I did a couple walkthroughs on the town square. That place is really coming along nice. Community, I'll be real proud of that, and can't wait till we can open it up for everybody. Hopefully, this spring, summer. So.
Councilwoman Nunn.
Yes, sir. On January 10th, or on January 4th, start again. On December 14th, there was a conference meeting with several federal agencies representatives dialed in concerning the Cole grant. Received information about the school district, the hospital, the Dave Johnson plant, the coal industry, tourism, and agriculture. The school addressed concerns about adequate housing for their teachers and discussed the difficult situation of providing quality education for transit students. Paige Hughes stated that currently 50% of their teaching staff comes from out of state, and a lack of housing for these employees makes it difficult difficult to retain them. Mayor Ramel reviewed concerns about the closing of the power plant. This will cost Glen Rock and the surrounding communities approximately 200 jobs will be lost, tax revenue, and sales tax will be affected. Our community needs permanent jobs, not just transit jobs. Robert Short spoke on uranium, reminding us that Converse County hosts the largest uranium mine in the country. We need to refine uranium here in our own county, so Converse County, how is that for an opportunity? The hospital people stated what many of us know. We have great health care in Converse County, and this helps attract people to our county. The agriculture industry success hinges on water development. Tourism is a valued and somewhat untapped resource. Outdoor recreation is our gem to offer this industry. All in all, it was a very informative meeting, and hopefully some of the federal people will want to work with us, and our community can benefit from the large sums of money available. A very interesting thing has come up with Amy and the program that she runs. Met with Amy and the county commissioners last Tuesday to review an ERAP program, Emergency Rental Assistance Program, for providing support for qualified senior citizens and individuals with disabilities. A $200 million pool has been dedicated to our area, which means the state of Wyoming is included in this pool of money. Seniors can receive up to $5,000 for repairs on a living location. To apply, a senior or a person with a disability must pre-register with ERAP. This money can also provide some good-paying jobs in a number of areas. It means that the 36 CNAs trained through the Community Block Grant Program could qualify for a job paying up to $43 an hour working in this program. It is not a long-term program. 9 to 10 months is the expected time frame. So the county commissioners agreed to pay a wage in the range of $40,000 for a person to administer the grant. Our biggest concern in Glen Rock is to get someone working with people in our community, to get people qualified for this money, and to have a person working here in Glen Rock to monitor the actual contract part of this program. Currently, the Community Block Grant Board needs a member, as we had a member resign. A step forward if you want to help the people in our community through the block grant program. January 16th, the block grant will be meeting again to start specifically addressing the ERAP program for the people of Glen Rock and any people in our part of Converse County. The Community Block Grant Program is a Converse County program, and we don't want to forget our rural friends and neighbors. It appears that our flagpole will be in the town square. Only one pole with a light. Those things are amazingly expensive. The Converse County Tourist Board has come up with something really interesting. The board has designed these interesting maps that we need to update to show our new town square. I figure if the Douglas Railroad Museum and Visitor Center get the gold star, our town square should also get a gold star. They have also given Douglas the jackalope as their town symbol, and this funny little pony thing over here, they announced was a town symbol for Glen Rock. I'd never seen it or heard of it before. I thought it was very interesting. No, we have I don't know whether he's a pony, a horse rider, or what he's supposed to be. But if we want to adopt this guy, we probably should try to incorporate him in our advertising, give him a name, and make him belong to us. This group appears to have good access to financial assistance, and they need another member from Glen Rock on their board. This could be an excellent connection to help promote our town square. As Council Member Fonce noted, Mr. Grimshaw, the investment developer from Casper, toured the Lincoln Building. Stewart did an excellent job. Councilwoman Fonce, Chris Wobeck, Donnie Smith from the museum joined the tour. With Mayor Romel's permission, I sent Mr. Grimshaw a copy of the 2013 feasibility study of that building. He will be in touch when he makes a decision on his interest in this building. And an interesting note that I learned that day was that Councilwoman Fonce said that her husband lived upstairs in one of those apartments as a small child. So we were looking around for his toys, but we never found any of them. On December 21st, Kathy Weinstaff conducted a substantial management of rural and small system wastewater in Rolling Hills. I learned so much about this part of our town operation. She made some interesting points, like it has cost $1 million a mile to replace a major water line, so I guess that makes us a few $1,000,000 from our source of water. And there are some very disturbing regulations in the making by the EPA. She would be glad to share her knowledge with our town if we are interested in her workshop. And now my good friend, the totem pole. Thanks to Randy and his crew for getting the totem pole settled into the Sharps building. Jared, you have our picture? Here he comes. There he is, settled into the Sharps building. It is suffering from some rather large cracks, which we are in the process of filling with cabin chinking. The bottom had a bad rotten wood issue, which will need to be seriously addressed when we stand it up again. Next phase is to do some additional paint removal, apply a primer or 2 or 3, then paint the figure. It will have a strawberry red top, a rabbit brown beaver, and in between will be a snake and 2 birds of who knows what color at this point. And then the only other thing I had was I had a couple questions about these goods. Mayor Ramel, do you know if we are on the list for that state revolving fund grant?
Still want you to talk to me. I'm talking to Kathy tomorrow. I'm going to put you talk to Kathy tomorrow.
We're still,
Okay, you're going to talk to Kathy. I'm not sure when the deadline was from. It seems to have come and go. February 15th, which is not too far. That might be a nice way to get a few $1,000,000 to put our new water line in. And do we know what our current status is with the Cole Community Grant? Are we included in anything on that? Do you know?
can't tell you with affected everything that came into the Cole Community Grant recommendations by anything in the state of Wyoming was rejected by the feds.
Everything was?
Everything.
Wow. Any particular reason?
We're still fossil fuels, and our government wants to get totally away from fossil fuels. So the only thing that got money, I believe in that, but they said the other day was that one school at the University of Wyoming got $500,000, and that was it. Everything else that was recommended by everybody across the state of Wyoming was rejected by the feds.
Wow, they're friendly people, aren't they?
There wasn't much that YW got either.
I'll be at the Enterprise tomorrow night, and I'll check with Cindy to see if
Yeah.
they're going to move forward with anything. Or
So basically, we're getting zip, zero, and nothing.
I was out of town for that meeting, so
But
I've only heard
that
whispers.
all came out from those people during that whole I listened to that most of the day, and it was kind of painful.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez,
I think they gave them that money just for some, a little bit of research down at UW is all.
Yeah.
See if there
For
could be anything.
the multi-millions that are going to that, we've barely got $500,000 so far, so
in the whole state?
in the state, and that's it.
Yikes, not good. And there's one other quick thing here. Can we replace the Wyoming flag out at the business park? Only half of it's left. It looks a little tacky, a bit indifferent.
It's
We need
not our flag.
Whose flag? Whose is that? Jared Williams? Okay.
He's the one who put that up.
Yeah, he put it up.
Okay. Maybe I called him.
He'll probably get to that anyway.
I mean, it just looks real bad out there. Got half a buffalo flopping around in the breeze up there.
I got his cell phone. I can call him in the morning.
Would you please? 'Cause it's welcome to Glen Rock. We have half a buffalo in town.
You put a new one up tomorrow, and it might last till the end of the week. You don't know.
Well, that's 3 more days, Mr. Mayor. That's more than we've got right now.
You just never know
That's true.
on what the wind does.
Before, under items on the floor, I believe Artie Schumer and John Ains are here to address our dirt issue with the landfill at that time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tammy, clerk.
Kathy Patzik sent me. Is this on? Can you hear me? Okay. Kathy Patzik sent me a little final report on the Christmas shop. She said that they were open for 28 days. They had 14 vendors, which was up from last year. Their total sales were up from the previous years at $16,875.35. they charge the vendors $25 each, and that, as well as 10% of the sales, go back to the town. They put a little sign-in sheet at the desk every year because they want to get ideas of where people are coming from. They had people from Salt Lake City, Glendo, Pavilion, Oklahoma, Idaho, Denver, Florida, Riverton, and Texas. And they wanted us to know that they did work with the chamber on their events. They participated in the Elf on the Shelf, and they stayed open late the night of the parade and all the Christmas festivities. So we've been busy setting Mandy up, and she's our new community development person, Mandy Jones. So she'll give you a report tonight. And I've been doing a lot of work in Black Mountain, like we have a lot of year-end cleanup. So I've been working on that, and that's about it.
Kelly's sick this evening, so we'll move on to Randy, Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Crew's been busy with dispatch rebuilt. If you guys haven't seen it, go in and see the new cabinets and the walls that have been put up and everything else, and the doors. And they did Jared's door and wall in there to his office. Meter upgrades, street sweeping, garbage collection, vehicle maintenance, sanding after the snowstorm, and shop cleanup. Did some checking with Jared Ferringer, CEPI, on the flagpole. He sent me some options. I forwarded them, or no, he forwarded them right to you. And I don't like either one of them. And I talked to Bruce, is it Bonnet, down there at Caspar? You drill a hole and put it in with sand. And I just don't think a 35-foot flagpole will hold up with that. So we're looking at different options. But as soon as we find what we want, we'll get it ordered. And Caspar offered to put it up and install it for us. So we'll get that done. And they're expensive. They're right at $5,000 just for a flagpole installation or concrete. So other than that, that's about all I have.
Randy, the work that you've done down there in dispatch is really nice.
They did a good job. The crew did a really
Really
good job.
nice. They have a place to put their coffee cups now. They have a little kitchen that's really, really cleaned that up.
The countertop person showed up today and did measurements and going to send me 2 quotes. So once we get the quotes, Kerry Moulton picked up the color and we'll get that coming. So
On that totem pole we got, if we refurbishing, is that something that we can think about putting downtown square?
There's not really a spot, unless you put it back in the grass or something, which would be part of Kimball Park. But
we can look. We go down there someday. And
it just has to be looked at. But right now, a lot of stuff. We got all the.
I wouldn't do it now with all the vehicles and equipment they're driving around, but could get ran over.
I think
No, I'm saying
something
later.
like that needs to
Get
be
it
looked
developed.
at later in the spring when it's more
That's what I
done.
meant.
So you see what all the surface and everything's looking like. Those guys have been working hard to stay ahead of their schedule and pouring concrete whenever they can. They've done a good job, so they're up and moving.
Just so you know, the boys and girls, they finished pouring the foundation today, so that was the last pour on the foundation. So that totem will look a lot better with an eagle on it, though, I think.
Yeah.
Moving to the next report will be Mandy Jones, Community Development and Town Square Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the quietest I'll ever be. Sorry, I've lost my voice. But I just want to say I am looking forward to this new opportunity to be part of the Town of Glen Rock and the Town Square Director and Community Development. This week we've been working on, the office was completely empty, so we've done some ordering of just basic office equipment, getting set up with the computer, email, and phone. I've started contacting people in the community and introducing myself. Started a list of ideas and events that people have kind of run by me. Working on enrolling grant class. Attended the GEDC meeting to introduce myself. Toured the town square. Met with the department heads. Took the test and submitted the required paperwork for the notary. And I also filled out an application for the Converse County Fair Board and Directors. I think this is going to be a great opportunity to meet other leaders in new people and networking for the community or that are in the community. And just reviewed the South Rec Complex agreement and was becoming familiar with that.
Okay, any questions for her?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Calder, Chief of Police.
Evening, Mayor and Council. A little update with regard to the fingerprint machine. I was able to get a good quote on just replacing the software. We'll be able to use the same equipment with that. The quote is going to end up being $3,595. So kind of spendy, but it is some pretty software, and with not replacing any of the actual equipment, I think we're dodging a pretty big bullet, if you will, as far as you can imagine the cost of the replacement would have been. But I think we'll go ahead and move forward with that. I don't believe I'm going to end up with any budget issues with it, but just to keep you updated on that. We are testing for a new officer on Wednesday, so we'll be doing interviews the same day. Hopefully by the end of the week we should have a selection, an idea, be able to move forward with background checks and such. So you should see a new face hopefully within the next few weeks. We are looking at some firearms training, as well as got the guys attending a mental health seminar. I'm working on obtaining Narcan. Not sure if you guys are very familiar with what we've got going on in the nation right now, but fentanyl is the streets pretty hard and dangerous stuff. So I want to get all the officers equipped with that. It's not a cheap thing. However, again, I shouldn't run into any budgetary issues, but working on that pretty hard. I think it's pretty important. Lastly, thanks to Councilman Moulton, as well as all my other officers that volunteered to deliver presents, and again, Dollar General this year helped us out. But one of my favorite pictures I want to throw up here and show you guys, just to give you an idea on how many presents we were handing out this year. That little cutie there next to me on the couch is completely buried in presents, so she was pretty excited about that. But we had a pretty good time doing that, and the kids seemed to really enjoy it. So that's all I have.
Okay. Jared Iverson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I've been spending a lot of time getting new users up and running. We've got dispatch rebuild. That's been taking quite a bit of time, and we're going to be getting ready to it'll be my turn. Electricians are down in there, so I'll be pulling cables and getting things ready to go so that we can get ready to put everything back together. And that's taking the majority of my time there.
And just so all of you know, with bringing on of new employees, this room back here now is Jared's office, and we'll do executive sessions upstairs. Just so you know, so you go bouncing back there, it's like, what happened? He has an office that doesn't make him look like a hoarder anymore.
I'm wondering when you were going to update.
Or yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But he is down here in the room back here is where he's at if you're looking for him. So the only thing I have is, I believe Sunday was National Law Enforcement Day, and I would like to recognize all of our officers and that in our police department and dispatch, all of them that do a great job for our community in Western Converse County. So let's have a hand for those guys. That's all I have. So we will move on to items from the floor. I guess we can start with, we put Artie and John on the spot first. It doesn't matter. Oh, sure. They passed the buck well.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Dustin Elport, and I serve on the Board of Directors for the Boys and Girls Club of Central Wyoming. With me this evening, we have our Area Director, Preston Blake, and our Chief Financial Officer, Brandy Pop. As you can see in the Glen Rock Independent, we've been very active in our Brighter Futures for Glen Rock Youth campaign. Going extremely well. We just wanted to come here this evening as part of our campaign to keep you guys up to date and answer any questions you guys may have within the club. You guys are obviously well aware of the construction going on. Ian's working for you guys, but yeah. with that, I will turn it over to Preston, and he can kind of give you guys an update on inside the club and kind of what our vision is and how we plan on serving the youth in Glen Rock as we get into the new building. So, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for inviting us in tonight. So I am brand new to this area director position. I've been a director at one of our sites in Casper, and this was a unique opportunity for me as someone who grew up in Glen Rock. I was there the day it opened in 2001. I was there for that summer program, so I was impacted by the Boys and Girls Club. I know what they do and the kind of people that they create. I like to think I turned out okay. And the Boys and Girls Club in Glen Rock has been awesome for years, and we're thankful for the school district for letting us come into their building and use part of it, and as well as the Glen Rock Rec Center. And so we're really excited that this project is on track, and that we're going to be able to use it. It's going to provide us so many opportunities for the gym space and having our own kitchen, and the opportunities that we can have with bigger and better program space. Our 3 priority outcomes are healthy lifestyles, good character and citizenship, and academic success. And we do all those things well now, but with the opportunity for a new building, it's only going to grow. This last month we spent a lot of time celebrating the holidays, so we got to do participate in going to the parade, and we went into Casper and went ice skating. We always get a great opportunity when school is out to do bigger field trips, and so the kids got to go over to the Tate Museum and the Oregon Trail Museum and kind of explore what the local region was like, and just kind of celebrate the season and have a safe place to go and to be kids. And that's what the Boys and Girls Club is all about, is providing that safe opportunity, meals. And we continue to work on Fridays, and we open our doors when school is out. And we kind of had a shrinkage of numbers once the school shut down and the clubs shut down as well. In this last quarter, we've really seen our numbers continue to grow and grow and grow, and so we're really excited that the opportunity for a new building is going to be great for those kids that continue to grow. And we really want to focus on how can we help the teens in this community and get them in our doors and finding ways to engage them and all those 3 priority outcomes, and continue to work on STEM activities, the engineering programs, the math, the computers, and different things like that. And so we're really thrilled about the direction this club is going, and the opportunities that we're going to be provided with the building. Are there any questions?
I just know the town's pretty excited about the new building and the Boys Club, so
yeah,
council is. So we're looking forward to that.
You guys have done an amazing job of fundraising for stuff to go into that building, so I do want to applaud you for all your efforts in that to help, furnish that building. Skin in the game. It's going to be a great opportunity for the town of Glen Rock.
Yeah, we've had some great partners, and
worked out really well with the fact that we got commissioners in the county to go in with the town to come up with the money for a building and do something that's way more permanent for you.
Yeah.
We appreciate your efforts and everything you do.
Thank you.
How large a staff will you have working at your building?
I'm sorry?
How large a staff will you have working at the new building?
We have right now 3 youth development professionals and a branch director. And one of those youth IDPs is what we call them, is going to be assistant director. Gabby, who has been our assistant director here for a couple years, is taking a director position in Casper. So we are looking right now, little plug, full-time position for assistant director at the club. But we will add 1 additional YDP when we open, so that our ratios are 1-20, and we want to make sure that we're well covered there. And we hope that we see enough teens that we could actually get a teen person. That's our goal. We did launch a $350,000 campaign, and we've done well. I had to actually eat my words. Dustin said we're gonna meet that goal, and he has been out there opening doors that we have not had opened before. So we have done well on the campaign. We still have a ways to go, and it's for the added budget that this was obviously a larger facility, needing more staff, serving more kids. and furniture and fixtures. Part of the plan is we will have we'll buy the stoves and fridges and the things that we need to serve, and there'll be tables and chairs. All of that will all be new going into that building. And then, of course, what supply or sports equipment and those kind of things that we'll need to replace moving into school. Our plan right now is to stay in the school until school starts, and hopefully, if the building's done June-ish, that's what we've been told.
You know, their end date was supposed to be April, but we moved them to June. But I feel you will be looking at what you're wanting to do.
Awesome.
Well, before the end of June, I got a feeling, unless weather gets bad in the next few months for them for erection. I think we'll all be surprised.
That's exciting. When I heard that the steel had showed up this week or in December.
Yeah, instead of February. So
we still have a little ways to go with the fundraising to get everything we want to do. What will shortfall for the budget and with the added space and staff. But I'm very optimistic that we'll get there, because Glen Rock is stepping up in a big way. So thank you for your support. Thank you. We could not have done this without the council taking charge and giving us this new home. So thank you for all you've done. And if you have any questions about the budget or campaign, I would be happy to answer what I can.
How far off of your goal are you financially on your campaign right now?
We've probably got about a third to go.
That's on this brochure. Do we have this for the community out there, even in a? This is nice.
Yeah, that's a nice brochure. So when we launched the campaign, we kind of broke it into two sections. We did a private. We were targeting individual donors at that point. So we're getting ready to go public with the campaign. So a lot of the donors that we've hit so far do have that, and then that will be going out to the public as well.
This is true.
So yeah, and as far as the community is just, I mean, when I've gone in and visited with local business owners, families, just trying to hit everybody, from that may have an influence on our community, they've just been extremely excited, and it's been amazing to see this kind of excitement about the Boys and Girls Club, because sometimes I've heard traditionally we've been kind of viewed as a daycare or a place for just the really young children, like around 6 to say 8 or 9. But when we start to explore the teen opportunities here, similar to what we're doing in Casper, it's amazing, and that's what lights people's eyes up on, some of those opportunities.
Yeah, to see that push for a teen center.
Yeah,
really good for our community.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So like Brandy said, we have a $350,000 goal, and we're getting there. We're pretty close, and we are going to hit it. It's going to be great. So yeah, but that brochure will be going out for sure.
Thanks, guys. That was nice.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you.
But thank you for coming in and giving us an update. Come on down, gentlemen.
All right, John Maines and Artie Schubert with the Solid Waste, Glen Rock Area Solid Waste District. Cool things that we wanted to bring up to you folks. I talked with Randy, it was before Christmas, for the closure, if we could use the Glen Rock property to store the processed greens on while we're waiting for the cover reclamation, or whatever you want to, however you want to call it, to be complete, and then use those to cover. If we could use the Glen Rock property to store that until that time, and then once that's done, we get it off of your property. So that was the first question that we had, and then secondly, it was kind of throughout the process of the board. It was kind of a handshake deal that we were going to be using some of that Glen Rock land or fill, or so to speak, and now not being able to use that would kind of changes our scope. So Artie's here, and he has a better understanding and he can give decent description of kind of how things went, but we were wondering if council could reconsider us using some of that for cover, and if there are any things that possibly the board could do to help, like with roadways or help with development of that area, or what you guys are looking to do down there, possibly look for a mutual benefit for the area as opposed to trucking material in for a long distance at a high cost to the local taxpayers and everything. So I don't know if you want to add to that, or if there are any questions. Or
we're gelling the closure plans basically, and our closure design calls for a waterproof membrane that goes over, basically it goes over what we see now. All that soil that's in place will have the membrane going over the top of it. What we like to continue to borrow is the material that goes over the membrane, and that's to the tune of about 75,000 yards. So that is a little bit less than what we see on the hillside now as what we call intermediate cover. It's a shame that it has to be covered up because it's so well vegetated now, but the membrane's got to go down, and unfortunately we're not pulling that existing soil away to put the membrane down and the soil back. The membrane goes over what we see, basically recontoured. And so in the borrow material up until this point has been, like John mentioned, with a handshake deal. There was never a formal agreement with the town of Glen Rock. And, you know, there's sand material to be had over in Casper. They excavate their sand to make room for their bale fill, and it's basically free. But the trucking is a killer, the cost of the transportation. So, you know, if there's some middle ground, you know, in talking to Road and Bridge, the pit run reject fines is going for about 75 cents a ton. That would be about, you know, $85,000. If there's something we can do with the design to, say, improve the road into the shooting range, to turn that into a decent road, that would require removing excess material that we could be using up above. What John mentioned, the greens, the problem we have with the greens is that we're kind of limited to our own footprint. As we grind the material, we need someplace to temporarily store it. The material would be good to work into the soil, to amend the soil, both up. I don't know if we can use it on the landfill itself. The nitrates can be a problem. That's one thing I want to check with the engineer. The nitrates can be a problem with the greens, but if we have a waterproof membrane down below it, what's the difference? It would make for a better soil amendment than just crimp and mulch straw. And that goes for the borrow area down below too. You know, that would be part of the restoration, the surface reclamation of whatever we do borrow down below. And again, you know, it would make for a better reclamation if we could make use of those greens in the reclamation. And so really at this point, you know, we're looking to see what we can agree upon, either informally. It'd probably be better to do a memorandum of agreement. We can reach one and update the engineer so he could finish out his plans. basically we have we have everything else in order through DEQ. It's just a matter of when we can put the plans out bid at this point. And our engineer has gone until the 16th.
Okay.
So,
well, that'd be something that we probably need to get together and have a meeting and see if we can't come up with something, because the use of the lower area and what was going to totally come off there was way more than we ever expected, and the cut down of the property and that through there came a concern, especially with those the Rocky Mountain Power easements through there and their power lines. So I think we should probably get together and decide what we can do and work on an MOU and go from there. Would be probably a good thing for the board and the town to get together and do that, so it doesn't hold you guys up also.
okay.
Mayor, if I could, the conversation I had with John and Bruce and Councilman Moulton was, our plan was, we're getting a lot of comments, they want a long-range shooting range there, plus an archery range. We're worried about digging too much, removing too much dirt. But if we can come up with a plan, I don't know why we can't work with you and maybe dress it up, make it look nice. But I mean, I've got a lot of people asking for long range and an archery range, so, and that'd be a perfect spot to do it.
If we can shelf that different, do something where you can not, the borrow. I know that you got to come up with so much topsoil that won't come from our area in the first place in your final coverage, correct?
The other problem you got with road going into the range we have now is you got wells on the other side, monitoring wells. I don't know what they're for, but they've been there since I've been here. So
there were wells.
Take too much. I don't.
That was actually, that whole 76 acres was platted as the landfill expansion area.
It was actually platted and had a permit until we finally, because everything was going dump wise, that was permitted, and that was the expansion of where the dump was going to go, and all those monitoring wells and everything else went in. But that all kind of went by the wayside when we went from our own, a district dump. It wasn't. It was funded by the town and mostly by the county for city and county residents. And then when the dump district came about and it became a tax entity, everything changed. So what it cost us to keep upgrading and keeping those permits for that lower area, we're getting. I mean, every time we turned around, it was a whole new set of hoops to jump through for the DEQ and everything else, and costs and everything else. So that's why that kind of went down there.
When the district was formed, the upper area was transferred to the district. The lower area never was, and but it had been used in the meantime. The material had been put to use in the meantime. So
it's always kind of been used as the borrow area for coverage up there when all the backfilling had to start. The coverage had to, when things changed by the DEQ on the landfill.
Is there a date that we could set, or should we just wait for the engineer to get back and set something?
Why don't you make contact with your engineer, and as soon as he gets back, if something we can get set up fairly soon after that would help you guys out, we'll let us know, and we'll inform council, and we'll have a meeting and see where we can go.
Okay, sure, that'd be great. I don't think it would take them too long to amend the plans as they have them now. But we would like to hit this construction season.
Yeah, I don't want to really screw up your construction season, but if we can come up with something that works for everybody and come up with an MOU on it, so if there's never any questions on down the road, because the handshake happened a long time ago, and there's been a lot of questions since. So
there wasn't anybody here that made that handshake.
No, they're gone. They're gone.
15 years go by, it's like that.
Like blink.
20.
Yeah. For sure. Thank you guys for coming in, and
contact Tammy on it. Okay.
Yeah, and she'll contact all the council, and we'll get a meeting put together.
Awesome.
Thank you. Are there any other items from the floor? If not, we will move on to new business. First order of business is, I believe, the It's the second reading of the ordinance number, is it ordinance number 730? Minor in possession of tobacco code change. This is second reading. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the second reading for the minor in possession of tobacco code change.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Next order of business, we're going to put Stuart to task here in a second, is Town of Glen Rock's ordinance number 731, Town of Glen Rock Town Code Animal Ordinances, and it's an ordinance amending Glen Rock Town Code Chapter 5. And I'm not going to read all the numbers, and we're going to go from there with Stuart. You're going to probably get some. I would say that you were probably blessed with you had the retired animal control officer help you go through this.
Yes, exactly. That's why I grabbed her up first, just to make sure I wasn't making too many mistakes.
If all of you have been through that and seen some of where the changes and stuff are, do you have any questions for either Stuart and or
Okay.
Councilman Fonts?
Stuart, on page 11, Part N has been crossed out about leaving a dog unattended in the back of a pickup truck in public parking area. Do you think that's a good plan to allow dogs to be left unattended in pickups?
Right now, there isn't a state law that says you can't have a dog in the back of a pickup truck. And it's been kind of contended when Boots and I talked about it. Neither of us have really ever enforced it because we'd probably be citing every rancher in the area. So it's one of those things that one of the things I was a little concerned with, it could be judged that pickup truck would be considered personal property, therefore the dog is on its own personal property, therefore it'd be the same being in the back of a pickup truck if it was in their own yard. Therefore I didn't think we could actually statute not allowing to have somebody have their own pet in their vehicle. I would assume that this law had come about because somebody reached into the back of a pickup truck at one time and got bit. But I'm only guessing in that aspect. So it's just one of those laws that it could be challenged because the pickup truck is personal property and the animal was within its own property. And also it'd be a difficult one to adjudicate because we have so many people that ride with their animals in the back of their truck, and it's not against the law to do that. So I just felt it would probably be best to remove it.
Have you ever had any incident?
No, not since I've been on. I'm in a little over 6 years now.
Okay, on page 21, Part K, up there where it says that an animal officer may lawfully interfere to prevent the perpetration of any act of cruelty upon any animal in his presence. Is that necessary to remove, or do we need something to protect animals?
It's removed because it's redundant. There's another location where that law is also in the books, and I'd have to find it. But it is actually added into a different section. It's not even added into a different section. It was in two sections, so I removed it out of one of them. So that law is still there. It's just not under number 11. It's in a different location, and I'm not sure exactly where it's at. But it was in there twice.
I thought you had this memorized.
Yeah, it's actually under 5.03.030, entry of private property. So it was just redundant, so I just felt we need to remove it out of there.
And then on page 22, talking about the maximum number of pets, does that article on page 28 readdress that and cover that?
Essentially, what we did is that I suggested, and this is obviously a suggestion, that we remove the number of pet ordinance. It doesn't really, the pet numbers doesn't really address the issues you would have with pet numbers. So, for instance, if somebody who has 4 dogs, the complaint is that they have too much feces in their yard. Well, the person who has one Great Dane can create as much feces as the person who has 3 poodles. So the animal numbers really doesn't affect that. We already have a nuisance order that affects that issue. Same way with barking dogs or dogs running at large or anything. The animal numbers isn't the reason why that's a problem. It's the problem is because an animal is getting out. What I've been finding since we've added that law was that it's really being used the way it should be used. It's being used by neighbors who are getting mad at their other neighbor and using it as a way to dig at. Well, they've got 4 dogs. You need to make them get rid of one. And then it's been very difficult to adjudicate because we also added that rule that if you have 4 dogs, you can keep the 4, and as one dies off, well, I don't know who's had 4 dogs unless they're all puppies. And so, yeah, in another 10 years, I can pretty well say, okay, all the dogs have died off, so everybody's got 3 animals now. But it's been really difficult to kind of adjudicate the animal's numbers. And really the whole purpose of an animal's numbers was to alleviate problems, and it really doesn't. What we need to do is focus on the laws that we have, which are public nuisance ordinances, which deal with feces or barking or the dog running at large. We also have within our public nuisance, for instance, I consider somebody has 5 or 6 dogs, they are causing an issue. We already have within our books that I can go to the judge and have 1 or more of those animals removed by the judge. So it's already actually being dealt with. What it is affecting, though, is my ability to adopt animals out, because I will get people that say, I've got 3 cats, I can't adopt another one because this town says I can't. Even though they're taking perfectly good care of the 3 cats and the 3 cats aren't causing any issues, they won't get a 4th because they're worried about the law going after them as a result of that. Also, we've listed in here, because I know there's been an issue of people starting kennels and things like that. That's already covered under zoning. You can't do, and that's why I added that little bit of a phrase within that. So you cannot, within a residential area, have any animals that you're using for sale or anything like that. So it's already covered under that, and so is really the animal numbers is covered under public nuisance. If we have an issue, we can deal with it. I can tell you that in the 6.5 years I've done this, I have not had an issue that related to animal numbers within a residential. There hasn't been an increase of barking dogs because they had 4 dogs and you know, one of them was barking. So so the numbers has never really been a problem, or has actually never been an issue in that aspect. So.
And then on page 25, talking about the license requirement fees, are the fees still the same for licensing?
So here's what I'm attempting to do here is that since we switched over to the new Flex system, we haven't been enforcing the licensing, and that was something that the past chief was supposed to start getting dealt with and never did. We haven't, because the Flex system, the licensing would have been different and didn't fit within our ordinances, so I haven't even been enforcing licensing for 2 years. What we find, and what you tend to find in municipalities, like where I came from originally, is that they only require rabies licensing. That one tag that comes from the veterinarian. They don't require them to license again through the town. So what I'm proposing is that we remove the licensing through the town. Everybody still has to have a rabies license, and that's still within our ordinance. It just removes them having to come in here and relicense again to show that they've licensed. It's basically having them licensed twice. I'm assuming the municipality did that initially as a revenue source, and it's really not a good revenue source. We charge $5. And for the time it takes for the staff to do that, with the new system we have, it's actually takes us twice as long, because we have to enter the animal into one part of this Flex system, and then we have to enter the licensing into another part, and every time we license we have to do that again and again. It's doable. It's just cumbersome. So what I'm proposing is that we just deal with licensing through the rabies. So when I pick up a dog or something, if it has a rabies tag, I look to see if it's valid. If it doesn't have a rabies tag, then I find out that it does have licensing. If it not, I can either cite or give the warning to the people in that aspect.
This is cats and dogs both?
Both, yeah. Just cats and dogs. Those are the only 2 that are required rabies, yeah.
Thank you. You did a lot of good work on this story.
Yeah, thanks.
You
Well,
cleaned this up a
Tammy
good
picked
deal.
up a lot of things that I missed, so
This is
it was great. It was kind of a duel.
Looked like it needed doing. Thank you.
Some of it did.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of passing this on first?
I think we made a motion.
You had to have a motion to do discussion.
Nope.
We should have, then that's my fault. Pardon me.
You did 7:30, but not 7.
We got ahead of ourselves.
I got ahead of myself, so I read it. So is there a motion to pass this on first reading?
I move we pass this on first reading.
I'm going to give the amendment number.
I guess ordinance 731, animal control.
Okay.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. We could still be reading this thing.
Oh, that's long.
Next time I'll just put the first page.
It's good.
Oh, there we go.
If I ever find a place here. This thing's driving me crazy.
Do you want my paper copy?
I'm
Here.
just going to steal his for a second. Next order of business is bills and claims, I believe. Is there a motion?
I move that we pay our bills and claims.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We'll try to answer anything we can since our treasurer is out. Has been out today sick, so everything looked pretty customary with what's on there. But if anybody has any questions, hearing no questions, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, set by nay. Motion carries. Next order of business is, would somebody make a motion that we adjourn to executive session for litigation?
I'll make a motion that we move to executive session for litigation.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. We're going to adjourn into executive session. I don't believe there'll be a vote on this when we come back out, but there could be a possibility. But if you're welcome to go or wait till we get done.
Do we need to sign?
Yeah, we need to sign. I don't know if we've got. You guys got a copy where we signed for Kelly?
Oh, okay.
You can sign that one.
Okay.
I don't know if she does anything special, does she?
No, but here, just start it over there and sign it real quick, guys, and bring it this way. Let's see if I can sign.
Do you need this?
No, I was just trying to find my place. It was like
It's a lot to scroll.
there's like 70 pages I got to get through. Find it or going back.
It took me time to get through the copier to get it to
The right hand don't know what the left's doing.
stuck together.
I guess that flagpole's gonna eat that $6,000 though.
Good improvements.
Yeah, you know, it's nice.
Cleaned it up a lot.
We've all talked about parts in our departments in the code that need addressed because they're outdated or some
Work
of
on
the
my left hand.
actually said cars.
You may have to sign checks
That,
tomorrow.
so we talked about
Good
that.
call.
I'll see how my hand feels in the morning.
Nice job.
Yeah,
Yep, needed to be done.
Come on.
Okay,
Oh, you got a purple one.
let's adjourn upstairs.
going upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because we gotta end the meeting.
Yeah, we have to come back and end the meeting, so.
If you want to take all of them, but I could do these when we leave. Huh? Awesome, thank you.
That'll get the meeting going.
I can't believe that they denied anyone. It's just disgusting.
Of every county, well, you know, everybody was trying to do something that would still have something to do with anything that's fossil fuels, oil and gas, coal, everything else. And the feds are, that all went that ship sailed over 20 years ago with the Obama administration.
But you realize some of the stuff they were playing in Douglas would have been really good stuff.
Would have been great, but yeah, you know, it's like it just put us back to the drawing board of, okay, what do we, you know, there was information that kind of came from those federal people of where we could kind of come back to.
How can we get our convoys in here? We can't train people.
That was the whole thing. It was like, come on.
Live streaming. Test 1 2.
Still live, man. Still live.
Yep, we are. I know. They can listen to me test this. I don't know why they got so quiet. Test 1 2.
I don't think they were talking into it because even
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. That's a little hotter.
Timmy actually leaned in. Or is it
Test. No, they're not. I'm gonna have to look.
What? You don't think it's louder?
That is so sad.
Okay.
So much good
We need a motion to close the executive session.
I make a motion that we exit executive session.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Where's our building inspector tonight?
We will be getting a letter of resignation this week.
No.
I will, when I get it, you guys are welcome to come in and read it.
Oh, yeah, I